Good morning, friends. Welcome to another painting stream here on twitch.tv/Tanatos. I'm Tanatos, also known as Andrew. Hello. And I'm in a mood today. Just the world, I hate it. I hate the inequity. I hate the self-satisfaction of people who step on other people to get where they want to be. I am livid right now, in particular with Louis DeJoy, the Postmaster General, who is still to this day, hello Ty, still to this day destroying one of the essential institutions of our government. The U.S. Postal Service is in complete disarray, which is bad for me in particular because it's bad for my workplace. Battleground mails a lot of stuff, and having the USPS be a shit show is... it's not good. It's not good, friends. So, I'm in a mood. But, you're here, I'm here, we've got some minis to paint, though this is not as mini as some of the minis that I have painted in the past. So yeah, I'm going to try and calm myself down by applying some pigment to plastic. As you will know, if you have been following the stream this week, I've been working on a couple of the larger terrain pieces for Warcry, and I haven't made as much progress as I would have liked to. This piece is very close to done. Well, you can't really see it there because it's in the dark. Let's go to overhead cam, right? Like, this piece needs a few little minor details, and the base coat will be complete. And then it's just weathering and doing the wash. So I think I'm going to dedicate some time today to finishing those last little bits for this piece, just to check it off. Like, it won't be completely done, but at least it'll be mostly done. And that should not take too much time. And then we can return to this piece. Thinking about hitting this with a blow dryer. You can see how it's all not dangling the way it ought. And I don't want it to snap off or anything, but I want it to hang down instead of off at an angle. So I might hit that with a blow dryer very quickly just to get it to hang properly. But anyways, I want to continue to work on this. My goal for today is to work on the wood on the bottom portion of this. All these planks and boards, this ladder, all that stuff. And maybe a couple of smaller details. We'll return to all of this stuff possibly this afternoon. So today is Thursday, which means that it is my day off. But I'm not getting much of a day off today, which is fine because there are legit reasons for that. I have a conference call scheduled with the business manager at the car dealership that I have applied to purchase an auto at. So that is going to be stressful, but yeah, it is what it is. And I have groceries coming, and I don't know, I feel like my day off is chopped into very small chunks today, which means I don't have as much time for what I want to be doing, which is playing video games and painting. It is, life is life. So let's think about this here. This piece has this rubble that's down around the base. I think I've been debating how I want to treat that rubble. I could paint it just a dark gray. I have this necromancer cloak, which is a nice dark gray, and then it would contrast with the stone head. It would be clear that it is not part of that sculpt. The other option is I could use a technical. I could use my Sterling mud to muddy it up and make it look as if it's just bits of sort of muck and mire. It's sculpted as if it's little pebbles, though. So maybe that's not what I want to do? I don't know, I'm debating on this. What do you think, chat? Should I go for the head is sunken in a mire look? Or should I go for these are gray pebbles on the ground look? While we ponder that, I'm going to get out my gunmetal gray, and I'm going to just highlight very quickly a small detail on this model that I find amusing and I want to call attention to. It's possible that you can't see this at all on camera right now. Come on, just a teeny bit. There we go. You like these models? Yeah, they are definitely very cool. And they're fun to paint. So I don't know if you folks can see this on camera, but you'll probably be able to see it once I do this. There are little squares here that I believe are intended to be nails poking through. So I'm just gonna quickly hit those with my gunmetal, which is that silvery metallic, so that they catch the eye. Because I like doing that. I like finding details in the sculpt and then calling attention to them. I feel like it's a service to the sculptor, and it makes the sculpt, makes the model a little more interesting. And then when I get to the weathering step, which hopefully I'll be able to do tomorrow, I can add some rust to these and make this just little details that make the model come to life. So tomorrow is Friday, right? And last week I said we're going to make Fridays into Finishing Friday, when we take some of the models that we've put base coats on during the course of the week and put some finishing touches on them, you know, wash and stuff like that, to move them from mostly done to effectively done. Done. This Friday may be a challenge for me. As you know, I'm purchasing a new car, And assuming that the conference call I have tonight with the business manager goes well, I'm going to go to the dealership tomorrow and sign all the paperwork, pick up the keys, and drive away with the car. I don't know exactly how long that's going to take or when I'm going to be doing it tomorrow, so it could well interfere with this stream. So I may have either an abbreviated stream tomorrow or no stream tomorrow. Not super happy about that, but at least I will have a working car if this all goes as planned. So, just a warning now that tomorrow's stream may be impacted by IRL stuff. Oh well. Hopefully I'll have time to do some form of stream tomorrow, get something done on camera. I'd really like to be able to finish a couple of these models, just for my own satisfaction and peace of mind. So there are those little nail heads. I think that was a worthwhile way to spend a couple of minutes just finishing off that little detail. Then, another little detail on this model is the rope that has been used to bind together all these bits here. And we've been doing that in this very nice dark red. It's just Vallejo red. Rojo. A really good, satisfying paint, too. I love working with this stuff. I like a paint that gets good coverage, gives good edges, and has a good color. Just look at that. That's a gorgeous color. So we're going to get that on here. Still have to make a decision about what I'm going to do with the base there. Should I do it as though they were darker pebbles and stones that are lying around? Or should I do it as if they were muck and mire that this head has fallen into? Either one is a valid choice, I think. Go with that. So I mentioned at the start of this stream that I am filled with rage. Filled with rage. This is like a pretty constant state these days. I've been this way almost always for, well, I guess a little more than 4 years now. Since election 2016. Probably I was filled with rage before then, but it wasn't such a defining part of my daily life. I'm not alone in this. And it's fed by a vast machine. Like a lot of the media that you consume on a daily basis, or at least that I consume on a daily basis, seems engineered to fill you with rage. Because rage gets clicks. I'm not super comfortable living in that kind of a world, and that makes me angry too. I'm angry about being made angry. Rawr. I wish there were more ways to encourage people to be happy, to realize that they have a lot in common with other people, and that by working for the common good, you can make the world a better place. That's why I enjoy some of the streams that I follow. They're not filled with rage. They're filled with goofiness and lightheartedness. And the world needs more of that. Thinking in particular of Pi's streams and Andrew's streams. I feel my streams are not really that flavor of stream. They're quieter, more contemplative, but perhaps providing a sort of zen escape from the rage-inducing world. Jen, you're getting your first vaccine? Congratulations! That is positive news. Thank you for sharing that, because that makes my day better. Thank you very much. I have been very much enjoying seeing so many of my friends posting about getting the vaccine. That is definitely a bright spot these last couple of weeks. Vaccines are happening. Hopefully with enough speed that we can get out ahead of some of these more contagious and deadlier variations on the disease. There are pieces of positive news in the world. And for that I am grateful. And it's also very pleasant to be able to just sit here, paint, chat with you folks. This is something that I look forward to every day now. Last week, on Saturday, because I work at Battleground at 10 o'clock, I couldn't stream, and it was very disorienting after 6 days of streaming to not be painting. That's why I made that little video showing off the progress we had made last week and thanking my followers. I'd rather have been streaming, but at least I could do something slightly stream related on Saturday. Maybe I'll be able to do that again this week. Haven't really had any new followers this week. But with all the follows we got on Friday last week, we made considerable progress towards the April goal, so I'm trying not to be stressed about that. This is definitely helping to calm me. I don't like being angry. I don't like myself and my actions when I'm angry. Feel a little bit more at peace. And certainly, just having some quiet time and doing something that takes a bit of concentration, take my mind off of things. It's good. So Ty, I watched a little bit of the Minecraft stream yesterday. And I am not a Minecraft player, so it was a lot of craziness that I didn't understand at all, but I enjoyed it. For anybody watching or seeing this in the VOD, Ty in chat is a friend of Andrew's, and they often stream together. They've played some, what's the pirate game? Pirate game, which I can't remember the name of. Something Seas. Whatever. And they play Minecraft, and they play, obviously, Jackbox games. Sea of Thieves. That's what. Yep. You're playing again tonight? Cool. Yes, I was just saying how little I know about Minecraft and how confusing it was to watch your stream last night, but how I enjoyed it anyhow. Yeah, I am not a Minecraft player. I never got into it, mostly because in my initial forays into Minecraft, I got very quickly frustrated by the entire crafting system. I feel like Minecraft is a game that requires you to know how to play before you can play it, if that makes sense. At least at the time that I was trying to learn to play, it didn't have much of a tutorial mode and didn't explain to you how anything was really done. So you just had to sort of go to your workstation and randomly mash things together and hope that you built something useful. And I found that quite frustrating. I'm sure it has improved, because it is exceptionally popular, but I feel like people who play Minecraft are largely people who knew how to play it before they started from watching streams or YouTube videos or something like that. So they knew how to do things, and then it was just, actually doing it for themselves. And that's not my gaming preference. I like to discover games as I'm playing them. Yeah, I figured that they made it a little bit easier to get into the game. When I first tried Minecraft, I kept starving to death because I couldn't figure out how to make a fire. And I was like, this should be rudimentary. This should be something simple. Why can't I do this and I'm not having fun? So I stopped playing. And just haven't really gone back to it since. But there's a couple of streamers that I have watched play, and it's clearly an incredibly versatile game, just in the sheer volume of things that you can construct and do. Which obviously is the source of its massive, massive popularity. is that it's like, and I'm not unique in saying this, the Lego of the video game world, where your creativity is more important than your game playing ability. Oh, Novocaine for the Souls, welcome, welcome. I didn't see you come in. The secret is to bang the rocks together, guys. Hitchhiker's Guide. Just trying to do some smaller details that I had left undone on this model as we move a little bit closer to being completed with it. I'm not gonna shame anybody for not liking Douglas Adams, but if anybody is watching this and you're not familiar with Douglas Adams, boy, do you have a treat waiting for you. Go find The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in one of its many, many permutations and enjoy it. The Hollywood movie version is not great, but it does have some stellar bits to it. Casting Mos Def as Ford Prefect was genius, I think, and he does a fantastic job of portraying the character. One thing you definitely notice about Mos Def's performance is that in almost every shot, he is finding a different way to use his towel. They don't make a lot of mention of it, of the importance of knowing where your towel is. But Mos Def definitely portrays a Frood who really knows where his towel is. And Stephen Fry as the book, chef's kiss. There's so much that's good about that movie that it's really frustrating how it just misses the mark somehow. Like, you look at the individual pieces and you're like, damn, this was really fun. Zooey Deschanel made a great Trillion. I mean, every casting choice was perfect. But then you've got the whole Hamakavula plot line, which apparently came from script treatments that Douglas Adams worked on prior to his passing away. But it just doesn't feel Hitchhiker's Guide-y. It feels Hollywoody. And I think that's kind of the point, is that some suits said to Douglas Adams, can you make your weird British sci-fi more accessible and give it a central villain or conflict? And he's like, fine, I'll throw this weirdness in. And it just never gelled. So yeah, that is the least of the Hitchhiker's Guide variants. But the radio play, fantastic. The book based on the radio play, also fantastic. The BBC TV series, I don't know. It was limited by the budgets of the day. It has a very 70s Doctor Who vibe to it, unsurprisingly. But I still enjoy it, nonetheless. Man, I'm just thinking about the movie. Alan Rickman as Marvin. How did they get so much right and make such a crappy movie? Oh, it's frustrating. Oh my god. So, the first 3 books in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy I am particularly fond of. The 4th book in the trilogy, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, felt like a money grab. And then Mostly Harmless felt like a big ol' F-U to the fans, which I didn't appreciate. I think Douglas Adams was probably under a lot of pressure to write another book and in the series. Like, probably his publisher and probably a number of fans just constantly harped on him. And it feels like he wrote a book to spite them. So that was my impression when I first read it back in the 90s. I was like, oh, this was less fun to read. I'll bet it was less fun to write. But he kind of went in and was like, I'm gonna end this series so that people will stop asking me about it. Let's just finish it off. I know posthumously there was another sequel written, and I think I've got it lying around my apartment somewhere. I heard it captured the spirit of the original books, but it's not Douglas Adams. I never went back to it. I do recommend Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency as well. The first book, and you can kind of tell, was based on an abandoned Doctor Who script. I guess spoilers, if you haven't read it, it involves time travel. But it's very Douglas Adams. And he did write for Doctor Who. Let's not forget that, like, The Pirate Planet is clearly a Douglas Adams piece. One of my greater disappointments or frustrations in life is that I have never been able to find a legal to download and play copy of Douglas Adams's what's it called? His second Infocom game. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy video game, the Infocom game, is probably one of the Infocom games I have played most. It's just one of those games that for some reason I would periodically replay it. It's not many Infocom games had that replayability. It had just enough randomly generated content. Like, the order in which you wake up is random, with the result that it is actually possible, even if you do everything right, to be impossible to beat the game. So, yeah. Save frequently, guys, if you play that game. But because it was not a set path and didn't always go the same way, I don't know, it felt fresh when I went back to it and played it again. So I played that through 3 or 4 times. But then he did a second Infocom game, Bureaucracy. That was it. And it's lost in rights hell. Apparently, Activision doesn't have the rights to it. I don't know what happened. But whenever you find like a compilation of all the classic Infocom games, and Activision goes back to that well periodically and re-releases them, Bureaucracy is not in that list. So I never got a chance to play it. I'm sure there's like pirated copies out there. And maybe that's my only way to get it. I guess maybe it's appropriate that a game about bureaucracy got consumed by the bureaucracy. Supposedly it was inspired by the trouble that Douglas Adams had trying to get a change of address. That he went to the post office to change his mailing address after moving. And they insisted that he would have to fill out a change of address form. And then they mailed that form to his old address. Yeah. So he wrote a game about it. And it's one of those legendary, supremely difficult Infocom games. Partially because it was an early one of those adventure games where you had to use the items in your inventory in a non-intuitive fashion. We've all played point-and-click adventure games where you take every object you have in your inventory and mash it into every piece of scenery until you find the correct combination to move forward. And I feel Bureaucracy was part of that. Novocaine, you say British bureaucracy is a pain? I think all bureaucracy is a pain. I mean, it is a universal that when bureaucrats attain power and people are more obsessed with doing things the proper way than getting things done, it's universally frustrating. I mean, look at the US Senate. Oh my God. Don't let people muck things up. And I think we all know that a lot of this, oh, you're doing things in an inappropriate manner, is not so much about making sure that people do things properly. It's about making sure that you maintain control over how people do things. It's a control freak thing. I like the aesthetics of doing things properly. But when your only rationale for it is that it's got to be done this way, it's a bypass. You've got to build bypasses, and you should have lodged your complaint at the appropriate time. Douglas Adams understood this. Anyways, someday, some glorious day, I'll get a chance to play Bureaucracy. And then I too can be frustrated by the stupidity of it. Both the game and bureaucracies in general. In the meantime, I'm gonna paint a model. Nobody to tell me that I'm doing it wrong. I'm not a fan of gatekeeping. That's another form of bureaucracy and control. Let people enjoy things their own way. And I'm sorry, I'm a downer today, folks. I don't know. I woke up angry, and I made the mistake of looking at the internet, and that made me angrier. Yesterday, I got a message from a customer at work asking what happened to their package, and I looked it up, and apparently several of the packages that I dropped off at the post office on that particular day never got scanned. So I have no idea what happened to it, because people, I don't know. The cost-cutting measures that Louis DeJoy, curse his name, implemented at the U.S. Postal Service have resulted not just in slowdowns, but in a disruption of every part of the Postal Service system. They dismantled and destroyed a number of mail processing machines, which would have, in prior days, scanned every piece of mail that went through them. Now, postal employees have to manually scan stuff as they're moving it from place to place. And I think a lot of people in the employee of the post office have made the very reasonable assumption that if they have only enough time to scan something or put it in the correct queue to get where it's going, it's more important to get it where it's going than it is to scan that item on its way. And I understand this. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to think. But the result is, if somebody tries to track a package that you have put tracking on and paid to track, that tracking actually reveals nothing about where that package is anymore, because it's not getting scanned. It's getting where it's trying to go. And I appreciate that. But it's not getting scanned on its way. So, I've been upset about that since yesterday when I got that message and tried to get tracking on that package. I don't blame the people who work at the post office. I blame the management that put them in this situation. I actually have a couple of friends who work at the post office. And I feel their pain. I am sympathetic to their plight. In a just world, which I realize this is not, Louis DeJoy would go to prison for interfering with the federal postal system. It's not going to happen, but it's what should happen. And he should face civil penalties. Like he should be sued for interfering with mail delivery by everybody who has had their business impacted by this. And there should be financial restitution from his personal savings. He should be destitute and in jail. But it is not a just world. I'm sorry to say, folks. So, don't expect any of that to happen anytime soon. If you're hoping for justice, be prepared to be disappointed. My only hope is that maybe my little corner of the world can have less misery in it. That's what I work towards. Much influence in the world, but what influence I do have, I'm going to use to make the lives of the people I appreciate, such as you, my friendly followers on this channel, a little less miserable. So I hope that this stream is achieving that. It's my general reason to be. Give people a better life. That's why I work at a game store. Because games are a good way to make lives less miserable. Enjoy sharing that. They're talked about this before, maybe not on this stream, but I feel like games are a good way to get together with people in a way that establishes rules and boundaries in a straightforward manner. Like when you're playing a game, you've got a set of rules that you're following. And it makes things more equitable, which I very much appreciate. It is not a just world, but at least board games and card games and miniature war games and things like that can be an enjoyable escape from that injustice. That's why I can't abide cheaters. Oh my goodness. Why would anybody cheat at a game? I guess, I don't know. There's people for whom winning is more important than enjoying what you're doing. Or maybe they enjoy unfairness as long as it's in their favor. And I think that's very true. There's too many people who will gladly accept an unfairness if it benefits them. Ah, man, I'm sorry, folks. This stream is not making me less rage-filled. I guess it's fun to vent. I hope it's not too miserable for you folks. Alright. I am done with those small details. So, we did all those red ties there. It really looks good, right? All of those are done. And we did these little nails. I really like how those pop now. It looks so good. It looks so good. So the last piece of this model before we start doing a wash is we have to decide, what are we going to do with this rubble that's around the base that's not part of the head? Should I paint it in a dark gray? I would use this Necromancer cloak, which is a very dark gray, and make it look like gray stones that are around the base. Or should I use the Sterling Mud texture paint to make it look like a sort of mucky mire that the head is sinking into? Either one is a valid choice, and I appreciate your input. What do you think, chat, would look better for the model? Sorry, Novocaine. I missed your awful pun about the anemic Avenger, low Iron Man. That was terrible. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your awful pun. Alright, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna use the Sterling Mud. Why doesn't Magneto wear purple anymore? Because the days of fuchsia have passed. Days of fuchsia passed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Ouch. Thank you. Awful puns for an awful day. It's actually not that bad a day. I'm just in a mood. Alright. I'm gonna use this old medium glaze brush, which you can see is utterly destroyed, because this Sterling Mud is a Citadel texture paint. It is a technical. You can see you don't so much paint with this stuff as you sculpt with it. It's got a grainy suspension in it. It's a brown paint with a grainy suspension. And when you put it on the model, it leaves behind all these little imperfections. So you're not so much painting with it as you're sculpting with it. You use it for basing, obviously. But it takes your base and it gives it a little texture. See? And I love using this stuff. Messy and imperfect and muddy as it is. It's kind of perfect thing for the base of a model. And it's going to get everywhere. Right? It's going to get on the other surfaces of the model. But that's fine, because if you're using this, your goal is to make it look like your model is sinking into a mire. It's sinking into the mud. So naturally the mud's going to get everywhere. It's a great color too. It's almost a purple brown. Mash it in there. That's why this brush is so destroyed. Is that I've used this brush for this in the past. Yeah, looks pretty muddy, but that's fine. Probably just want to make it universally muddy across the bottom of everything here. But isn't that a great look? I don't know. Let's see if I can get it in the light. There you go. Isn't that a great look at the base there? Okay, almost to a stage where I can just look at this piece and say, fine. It just needs a wash and maybe some highlights. And we'll just say, done. Finito. Fait accompli. Man, I'm just ruining this brush. It's awesome. Go. All right. All right. Try and clean this brush a little bit. And then we're going to switch models. Because this model, aside from a wash, which we'll hopefully get a chance to work on tomorrow, aside from doing a wash, this model is done. It's so gorgeous. Look at it. That's a good few days' work. I need to find a gray that will blend with this so that I can fix that. And there's a little bit on the base there. When I go in with a wash, this is all going to look a lot better. It's going to, all these little nooks and crannies and crevices in the model will come to life. But for right now, that is done. Whew! Feels good. It feels good. What time is it? Yeah, it's a little bit after 11. I've got until noon. Amanda is going to be home at noon for lunch, so I want to get as much done as I can before then. Time to work on this model. So yesterday, we did a little bit of the base here. Did that bell. Did these skeletons. We still haven't decided what we're doing with those bricks. Alright, those bricks, I am going to use that Necromancer cloak for. Where did I just put it? There it is. Necromancer cloak. It's another of those war paints that I got out of that kit when I started painting way back when. So let's do that. Let's get those bricks. You'll see this is just a very dark gray. Dark charcoal gray. I'm going to use, again, my favorite brush. I'm going to have to get another one of these. My small Citadel layer brush that I use for almost everything. decided yesterday that this bit of rubble here is one of those bricks that just fell down at the bottom here. So, see if I can do this without dropping the model. Okay, got those bricks there. Let's get these in here. This is a little bit trickier because it's further in the model. Like it's not as exposed a surface. Touch up around this easily. Should have done this before doing this arch here. One of those areas where if you blep outside the lines, your wash is going to save you. Because it'll obscure that outside the lines area. Go. Those bricks. Looks good. Let's do this side. Then we'll work on some of the wood on this model. I hope when we are done with this, that folks coming into the store enjoy playing with this terrain and don't abuse it too badly or lose too many of the pieces. Probably a lot of the details that we're putting in here will never get seen, or will be only subconsciously noticed by anybody. But you and I, chat, will know that it's there. And the satisfaction of getting these pieces done is its own reward. Now, do you think I can get the insides of this? Probably. It's going to be a little trickier. It's actually going to be a lot trickier. Just a difficult angle to look at. It will be a little less precise, maybe? Pretty much painting with the side of the brush due to the angle that I have to use here. It's fine. Everything's fine. Nobody's going to see this but me. So, it doesn't have to look great. This is awful. Okay. Okay. Put on those little bricks. Oh, there's some up here too. Almost missed those. Some brown paint and start working on some of the wood grain in this model. Half an hour before we wrap it up for the day. Get a pretty significant amount done in half an hour. Boy, that's kind of watery right there. Can I not dry my brush properly? I think I probably didn't agitate the paint enough when I got that second little bit out. more on the inside. Feel I really need to be super precise with the inside, back side of this. Besides which, when I do a wash on this, it's going to make these edges less clear anyways. Okay. It's fine. Okay. Done. Fine. I'm going to get a little of my dark brown out. The oak brown, of which I have very, very little left. Maybe not. So I'm thinking of making this different, but maybe not. I think maybe I just let the wash bring out the details on all of this. Yeah. Let's just get my larger brush out. And we're gonna slop some paint on the model for the next few minutes. See how much we can get done between now and noon. So we're going back to, nope, that's the dry brush. We're going back to our Army Painter Wargamer Regiment brush. So this nice big tipped brush. And our flat earth. This nice sort of, that's this brown here. Now is the time for our discount tent. Let's get this on here as fast as we can. This always happens. I get to the bits where I'm concentrating less, and suddenly I'm quiet. It's just whenever I feel the need to paint large areas quickly, for some reason, that's when I stop talking. It's weird. I don't know why. This should be the part of the painting that's the easiest. But this is when I tend to shut up. Who knows why? Also happens towards the end of the stream, when I'm just like, quick, get paint on model. I have to wrap up soon. Don't forget to wash your brushes, yo. Otherwise, you're gonna need to spend money buying new brushes more frequently. I am sad to say, it seems likely that I'm not going to achieve my goal for this week. My goal for this week was to finish 2 large pieces of terrain. And I've got 1 mostly done, right? We just did the last of the fine detail work on it. All it needs is a wash and highlights. But this piece has a lot of gray on it still. It was an experiment. I don't know, because I've never painted anything in this scale before. I've never painted large terrain pieces. So I didn't really know how much I could get done in a week. And the answer is 1.5 pieces, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what I can do with the remainder of today and with tomorrow. But I'm feeling like I am not going to complete this piece this week. We'll see. We'll get some more work done on it today, definitely. 20 more minutes. "20 minutes is time enough to at least get some paint on model. And this does go a lot faster when you're doing just one color over wide swaths. Giant glop there. I need that. More paint. Do go through a lot of paint when you're doing large areas like this. I don't know why I'm doing the underside first rather than doing the underside last. I just was holding the model that way, I guess. Nook and cranny. There's more bricks hidden in there, but hey chat, I'm not gonna do them. Don't tell anybody. There's gonna be some unpainted bricks deep in the recesses on the underside of this model. It's our secret. I feel so rebellious. guess because the more satisfying part is doing the outside, so I'm trying to delay that satisfaction, get these hidden surfaces done, so that when I get to the satisfying part, I don't have the unfinished interior pieces looming over me. I know when I finish the top that the bottom is already done, and I'm not going to have to go in there and do it at all. Awkward angle. There we go. Okay. Got some paint where I didn't want it, but that's going to happen. And like I said, these are surfaces that nobody but me is ever going to look at. Okay. I've done the underside of a lot of this. Let's do the top side quickly. And we'll call it a day for today. Well, for this portion of the stream. I had mentioned that I might come back and do a little bit more painting later this afternoon. I have a lot going on today, what with the car, and I've got groceries to deal with, and yeah, just a busy day in general. But I'd like to make time to do a little bit more work on this, just as a quick bonus stream at some point this afternoon. So if I do that, it will probably be maybe 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll see how the rest of my day cooperates with me. But I'd like to be able to do that, just to get more paint on this model, get it a little bit closer to what I would consider done. And then, as I said, tomorrow I have to go and fill out paperwork, like sign forms and stuff, and actually pick up the car. So tomorrow, maybe either a shortened stream or a stream at a different time than normal, or possibly no stream at all. We'll see. Yeah, this car is interfering with my weekly schedule, but it is very, very much worth it. This is something I've needed to do for so long. So I'm glad it's happening. I just wish it weren't impinging on my schedule quite so much. We'll see what happens. So possible later stream today. tomorrow's stream is up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen with it, because I don't know how long it's going to take me to get car stuff dealt with. But for today, for this particular block, my normal 10 a.m. to noon block, I am approaching the end. So as always, I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. Thank you very much, Novocaine, for your awful puns and for making me think about Douglas Adams. Made my day more pleasant. Thank you everybody for joining me, keeping me company, and making all of this painting such a joy to do. This is a big undertaking, and having you here to spend time with me makes it a little less intimidating, and I very much appreciate it. So, you're all wonderful people, and you make my days better. Thank you so much. I will possibly see you later this afternoon, and possibly see you tomorrow. I'm sorry that I can't be more definitive. I don't know exactly how things are going to go in the next 24 hours, but I am hopeful that the result will be I have a working car by sometime tomorrow afternoon. That tomorrow afternoon, when I go to work, I am driving a working car. This has helped, Jen. This has helped. I am still filled with rage, but I also have a sense of accomplishment, and it was nice to have you folks to hang out with while I was filled with rage. Solidarity. Jen, I wish you luck with your job hunt. I hope everything is going well with that. And yeah, we made some progress today. We definitely, that big headpiece is looking great. It just needs a wash. It just needs a little more detail, and we can call that piece done. So that makes me feel good. Having you folks to talk to has calmed me somewhat from my complete rage at the world. It helps to know that in spite of all the bureaucracy and pettiness, evil, selfishness out there in the world, there are also people who are generous and kind and help each other. And I'm very pleased to have you folks here for that. So, thank you everybody for joining me. Possibly I will be streaming again later. If I do, I will post in all the usual places, on the Discord, on the Twitters, on the Facebook, on my Mastodon, all the various places that I post on a daily basis. In the meantime, I'm going to say thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Be excellent to each other and enjoy whatever art it is that you choose to do. Have a wonderful day, folks. Thanks for joining me.